There's a certain type of scene that happens in quite a few different movies and TV shows, and it's possible that you've even seen this happen in real life. There's an emergency that occurs in a public place, like in a restaurant or on an airplane. Someone's injured or they're having a heart attack or something like that. When this starts happening, what's one of the first things that people cry out? People might say, call 911, but they'll often say something else that's pretty similar, especially if there's a large crowd around, or if calling 911 isn't an option, like on an airplane. Someone will usually say, is anyone here a doctor? Notice that they don't say, does anyone here work in tech support? Or, are there any mechanics in the room? They very specifically call for a doctor. Now, why do people do this? Because the person in trouble in this situation needs a very specific kind of help, and so they need to find someone who's able to provide that specific kind of help. The person has a medical problem, so they need medical help. If the people around them don't call the right person, then whoever's in trouble doesn't have a lot of hope. When humans sinned, God judged them, but God also promised that He was going to send someone who would make things right. God's people knew they were supposed to expect someone, but with a problem like sin, who are you supposed to expect? Who could possibly save people from sin? Who could possibly save anyone from hell? Thousands of years after God made this promise, a man named Jesus was born into a family descended from Abraham. Jesus did things that left people amazed, miraculous things that nobody had ever seen. He instantly healed people from a variety of diseases and conditions. He commanded the weather and it obeyed him. He taught in a way that people had never heard before. Jesus did these things because He cared for people, but more importantly, He did these things to show people who He was. Jesus was the promised one that they had been waiting for. And while Jesus was a man, His power and insight revealed that He wasn't just a man. Jesus could do things that only God could do. Jesus was God in human form. Jesus was both a man and God Himself. Now, Jesus healed people and He taught them well, but there was something else that He did that allowed people to have real hope. Jesus had the power to forgive sins. Jesus knew that humanity's biggest problem isn't pain or stupidity. Our biggest problem is sin, and God's judgment on that sin. In some sense, we humans are able to fight sickness on our own, but we can't make ourselves innocent or righteous on our own. God knew that we humans would never be able to make amends for our sins, so He sent His own Son to do it for us. So you may be thinking, if God could just forgive sins, why didn't He do it thousands of years earlier? Why did God need to send His Son to forgive us? Well, Jesus was able to forgive people, not just because of who He was, but also because of something that He was going to do.